and you've now lost what is that Alpha aggressive entry playing on the chamber and replaced it with a Sage. So I want to see what sort of attack side ideas Fnatic have, because sure, I think this comp will be great on defense. Will it be good on attack?
Defensive ideas from RRQ in the pistol, firing squad in mid, waiting for that spot. A few shots fired, but none landed. Will be Fnatic to make the first move. As RRQ just have to fall back now, play that more defaulty play. Mid a bit more open, and looks like they might even be thinking about going in towards mid. Certainly with the reveal, here's some util following it up, but a lot of this is posturing from the defensive side. They're trying to make a favorable engagement happen, find something when the reveal pops off, but Fnatic are quick to deny it. And again, it's back to covering their bases.
We know Fnatic are renowned for this slow style. It was mentioned by Wire, and I agree that getting into those post plants, they're going to be tough to beat, especially in a pistol round. That wall is going to be devastating, but they are walking into a stack up. 3 players on this side of the map. They're slowed as well by that smoke being into position. Actually, Alfia doesn't look like he's going to use that wall for the post plant at all.
Oh, he's going up into the window as the exec comes through. Kayak already dropped, and here's Alfia's opportunity. He's being spotted, still manages to find one. He's pulling them back into this. Opening pick for RRQ, but an immediate response from Fnatic puts them into a 4v2 post plant.
Yeah, this is going to be tough to break back in. That double entry is huge, but Alfia still on the wall, has been caught out. Chronicle in a fairly open position, but will just opt to fall back. Utility not really available for that attack, but a singular paranoia for Munye.
Could get them back through. Chronicle's just got his flashback online. There's the shot from Jemkin though. Crashies, who is desperately low, is down. And it's the 2 players in Boathouse who have to pull this off. Chronicle with a pistol in hand. It might not be the classic, his signature weapon. He will find the kills nonetheless and put Fnatic 1-0 up.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the players I want to keep an eye on, because even when they were in poor or 4, you did start to see Chronicle coming back to that championship level. And we know that if they are going to be a contender in this tournament, he needs to be on. Like, he is that player that I feel like desires to win more than any other. And a solid start for him in the pistol round. Already seeing an idea or two, but I'll be honest, that idea at least I've been seeing since 2020.
Obviously, we had some slower weeks from Chronicle over in EMEA as well, but he certainly found his form towards the end of the season. But that was something Uber was saying, you know, across the board, it's felt like regular season stage 2 has been that little bit of a drop-off for Fnatic. But this is their chance to put their best foot forward in terms of opening matchups in Champions. They've only lost to 1. It was their 2nd appearance. Obviously, they beat the ever single champs. It was back against 100 Thieves. Other than that, this team is usually undefeated in the early stages. In this round, they certainly should be getting away with it fairly clean. 2 pistols, so a big margin for error, and only classics that they're up against.
Fairly hefty rotation, but they're not actually within the site trying to use the smoke to cross over, but it's something that Fnatic are well aware of. And well, blink and you miss it. Chronicle already up to his 3rd kill of the round, just 3 away from finding his ultimate already. And they're also farming up a lot of the orbs onto Alfia, wanting to make sure that that res is going to be available as much as humanly possible for Crazy Guy. Well, you either want to try and do damage or ideally die to the spike. That's not happening.
No, they're trying to buy time for Alpha to come back and grab that kill, but Crashies, his hand was forced in the end. They come in with 2 pistols. They leave with them as well. A flawless round from Fnatic. Big money builder early on. You look at RRQ. It's not a round that they should have had much contest in. They very nearly dropped Chronicle. I don't think it's the end of the world, but this next one, this is going to be telling. We need to see them get off to a flying start. Do some damage. Win the round for sure. As, you know, in terms of the Ascent, the last time these 2 teams faced, it was pretty convincing in Fnatic's favor.
The other thing as well, I think more Integra, is actually their last match when they played versus Paperex. They had a 1-11 attack. So this defense has to be solid, because whenever they've done even reasonably well on this map, it has been a defensive-sided half that has done it for RRQ. So that'll be the focus. And this is where they now have the weaponry to play with. Chronicle, even after a pretty stellar early start to this game, he's going to be left down to just a stinger. And Jemkin, well, he's going to be able to escape and have his teammate double up onto Alfia. A great start for this round.
Yeah, not bad at all. exactly what we needed to see. Fnatic being put in their place early on with that advantage that RRQ are bringing to bear. And as you said, with the defensive side expectations we had. Rifles are left though, 3 of them with an upgrade that's being brought through. Naked from a corpse, I'll move towards this A site, but plenty of numbers here for RRQ. Full utility online towards this side, and 40 seconds on the clock. Time to make a decision, and it looks like they might be making the right read.
The thing is, that was their own thorns. It felt like Crashies wanted to push forward.
30 seconds left.
But his own team's thorns have blocked him out from doing so. Fnatic like to run the clock low, but I wonder if this is just turning into a save. 20 seconds left on the clock, the spike pushing forward, but everybody else still with so much space to take. Boaster down.
15.
And yeah, this has to be a save now, but it still seemed like, at least up until Boaster went down, they were still challenging for this round. RRQ with a chance to keep this one nice and clean, and the only thing is, because it's their first round victory, I don't expect them to hunt too much for these remaining guns.
Yeah, no, it's definitely worthwhile just hanging on to what they've got. Even that one Guardian they've now got left with the upgrade for Crazy Guy. Cushy will just carry it forward. Hey, listen, that is a godsend of a round for RRQ. Great early fights, already showing dominance over that mid control, and the patience on display late. That's what Fnatic were trying to force out of them, is a little bit of an overextension. Someone playing too aggro, someone giving the chance for this squad to find a weakness, find a site to push into, but it wasn't given away. The discipline on display gives us a 2-1 scoreline. The full buy back in for Fnatic, ult's close to being online.
That was just a bonus, so even the couple of guns saved and a little bit extra is going to put them into a good position. Rez already online, so they can now be a little bit riskier. Saying that, the shock dart that's been sent through early from Cushy has done a lot of damage. I imagine the heal has already been administered, so Chronicle will at least be back to 100. Again, ground to a halt. This defensive setup is incredibly passive. They're not trying to give any of those openers on the other side, and because of that, with somewhat a lack of initiation at times, Fnatic are just having to contact into this one.
Straight through the side for utility, they will go. This is the problem, a lot of reactive util in play for RRQ. The salvo coming in from Crazy Guy still has one left to play with. Reveal comes in, the spams can now fire right back through. Very oppressive in terms of the util, the positions that RRQ are playing in as well. It's making it a bit of a headache for Fnatic. And with that extra time bought, rotation through from Jemkin, mid fully secured, and Fnatic are going to go for this late control. Alphair wants to push deep into the spawn. He's got a guy on the rotate, trying to cut it off, and he'll grab one. That's the res online, but Crashy's double, and Boaster clearing out the rest of the site. What was a very labored round in terms of the time being bled out of Fnatic's clock has ended up being a huge success for them.
Yeah, no, just their entries into that B site were sublime. 2 players at the back of the site being picked off in rapid succession alongside the rotations being cut off. I was a little bit nervous because you have Alpha with the res, and then he's taking a solo fight alone on the other side of the map, but it's clear that the other players are ones with utility. They're actually going to be able to put you into place, so you can't really afford to leave anyone else behind. For Munya, there's not really much of a choice. Just try and hold on to the gun. They managed to keep all 5 players alive in the previous round, so there's definitely going to be a purchase up for RRQ, but it's one where you kind of watch this round and go, it's difficult to say what they could really change, because they had their players in the right place at the right time. It just seemed like they lost every single fight.
Well, that's it, right? Obviously, we're on board with Alpha for this cross kill, but it's on the site when Crashies is able to find a double in quick succession. Those players on Boathouse trying to trade out while Boaster lurks in the smoke.
Very good discipline right now, I love to see
They had the rotates, they had Jemkin close by to support the site. They had the smoke to cover their cross in, or so they thought, but weren't expecting Boaster to be there. And well, that's a very early upset for RRQ, but the reality is they still have the money. Jemkin's come in, operator in hand. This is the benefit from having such a clean previous round, but that position from Boaster, it's sneaky. If Jemkin steps back out, if Cushy tries to cross to market, they could be caught off here.
Now has the idea that there's a player in position.
Here.
Jemkin's gate crash is about to run out, but just at the last second he's able to catch that kill. Boaster not being able to spot the player further, but That will be an immediate retrieval. Wonderful usage of the salvos, though. That would be the pickoff of Kayak for the second time this round. His KD taking a beating. And so are Fnatic in the early stages. They need a response, and well, Jemkin's operator has just been a game changer.
Spike down
From an almost clean round for Fnatic, it's looking like we might get one in response.
Yeah, I love this from RRQ. The salvos there onto the res, just perfect, and again, highlighting the benefit of having this Teho in. It's a difficult agent to use right now, but we've started to see some teams making that adaptation. And we saw it in the previous round in terms of slowing down the push. Ultimately, when the push came in, they lost all of their fights, but the stoppage ability is huge. The situational, like right there, massive, pushing that player that was rezzed out of position, giving Jemkin every opportunity to pick off players. Like you said, I think that highlight has very much been the operator. So it's not just the utility in play, the weaponry too. The way they're controlling this map, very nice. And I'm curious to see what Fnatic's adaptation will be, because after that previous round victory, they've still got money. They'll be able to invest here. And I think it will just be this back and forth with these clean rounds being traded, if that continues, until we finally see someone's economy being broken.
Well, it feels like we're playing the slowest game of all time right now.
Fnatic. Fnatic attack side on Ascent. Yes.
We've also just had like late round saves each time, so it's been like almost a burst of an explosive fight, but even trying to use the heal. And actually, Althea goes down because he's trying to use the heal while running away. Like, that is so unfortunate, but also just wonderfully placed utility for the side of RRQ. They're definitely a squad that seem to be improving day by day, game by game. Showed massive resilience in their victory to get into that top two. Well, those first few rounds definitely haven't phased them.
That flash, nicely done. Jemkin not able to hit the shot on the jumping Kayak. And it will be a 5 versus 4 with the big player of the previous round, the big weapon of the operator down. They try to delay with the salvos, but Kayak's already through. Crashed through the gates on the B site. And he's claimed it for Fnatic. A plant now secured. A 5 versus 3. RRQ, well, you talked about the slow rounds. This was a bit more direct, but we might still get that late round save.
Well, I also think it was Boaster's paranoia that must have just been perfectly placed, because I think that was just an immediate gate crash into the site for Kayak, and it looks almost silly that he's able to get that kill for free. Breaking back into this, though, it was mentioned, it's not going to be easy. You're facing off against that Vice in tandem with Sage, and well, that's before you even talk about some of the individual brilliance currently in the server. This has been a very peculiar game. Both sides winning a lot of their rounds incredibly cleanly. And this time that pace change from Fnatic, and more importantly, catching out of Jemkin, has turned this completely in the other direction. At least, though, Crazy Guy's going to make it a little bit more costly, but let's be real, it's not going to do too much in terms of the economy.
Yeah, I liked what Boaster was doing there. Alpha was a little bit ahead of it, though. Initially, you see him clearing out main, looking for players in the corner, but ends up being at least a dent in that economy. There's your paranoia going through, and the full blinded Cypher on the side of Xfero. Not much to say about that. 4-2. But like we said, it's been clean rounds, been a couple of saves at a time. RRQ still able to buy up. We got to be getting close to a record here so far in the tournament for the most back-to-back buy rounds for both teams. I mean, it is ridiculous.
Well, I want to see how good these teams are with the Stinger. That's been the gun of the tournament, I feel, so far, but not in this game. I think we've seen one. That was on Chronicle. Nonetheless, he's now got an operator of his own. Clearly expecting that aggression to come in. Early TP just to try and clear out Switch. The run in. Kayak's already gone down. Smoke going to be thrown back out to try and delay them that a little bit further, but it feels like now Fnatic are a little bit more committed. Boaster has made that move eventually, but is the only one out. They're still just trying to get through this choke point. Stuck by Munya Smoke. Well, getting out of here is going to be difficult. Althea's got a long wait before that heal's going to be available. In fact, we'll be down to the last 15 seconds of the round if that happens. And obviously for Chronicle with the operator, all he can really hope to do is hold the cross.
There could even be a world here where they're going to group up, swap that op into Alfier's hands. It's, yeah, there we go. It's the right play. Give him at least a chance to trade bullet for bullet. They have got the B site wide open. RRQ, they've shown us a lot of patience on the defensive side. This time, it may be their downfall is that they will give the plant away. 12 seconds.
With Dimensional Drift online, though, I'm not worried. Like, you could just throw that in just to confirm this round. I think clearing out all of the risky angles will just make this so much easier. And playing this as a 4 versus 2 retake, I think the gamble would be is if you left it down to a 1v1 on the site. They're not going to allow that to happen. Chronicle, though, this is what I'm talking about. He's going to try and get aggressive, try and be surprising. They already know where he is. That surprise factor is gone.
Alpha, though, still manages to land a shot. They know where Chronicle is. That was the problem. It's down to the low HP player. He's healed himself slightly. He'll survive a shot, but not to the head. Cushy puts him in the ground, and RRQ convert 3 to 4 now. And Fnatic being wiped out, but guess what? They still got credits.
Yeah, of course they do. All of these rounds have been fairly clean. In fact, this is one of the first ones that hasn't for the side of RRQ, but this is sort of the issue I'm talking about. Like, a lot of the time you're going to see double or in some cases even triple initiator on this map. It allows you to get through those choke points a little bit easier. Some teams that change it up by running a double duelist. Maybe you see the Jet alongside the Yoru so that you can get that little bit of extra space. In Fnatic's round, what they're doing is, well, this one at least, placing the wall down and try and get through the choke, but the choke is the same. You're still going through that gap. And the couple of TPs not working out made it incredibly difficult to get out of that choke point. Even still, 4-3 up on the attack side of this map. Already said defense normally better. And what a Hunter's Fury pop. Chronicle's dead to rights. Nice start, in fact. Another tag to be had as well. Not as impactful when they have a Sage, though.
Yeah, not so much. At least it will be the shield stripped away. A small benefit. And look at this. For RRQ, they've been playing so heavy on one side of the map, and it makes sense when it's towards A and your Cyphers left to hold the other side. In the last round, they had 5 players on the A site when Fnatic were pushing through. This time, it's 3 towards it. 1 of Jemkim close enough, and the ultimate set off. This will isolate Kayak inside of main, but there's no one to play on the back of it. That does feel like a little bit of a throwaway from Crazy Guy. The res is still online.
Yeah, I guess the expectation was that maybe somebody was a little bit deeper. They are wary of those salvos. That's what it is. They're using the res here. They're just expecting the salvos to just remove anybody else who's left. Shock dart over the top, same wall, getting ready to go, but they should be aware of this. Jemkim also holding the line into middle. Fnatic starting to fall flat once again. It's only really Alfia who's done anything, and well, Kayak now with 14 seconds, 4 players to find, and guess what? RRQ are not going to be peeking. That will be the scoreline equalized for the Pacific number 2. And well, for Fnatic, it feels like feast or famine.
Very much so. I mean, in this round, you see early pick go down, sure, but the great thing about RRQ, like you said, is the fact that they have this composition with the Teho that is now getting into Fnatic's head. You can't pop that res because the ult can come through, and even after the ult's been put in, you're worried about the salvo. Crashies is going out running backwards to take down a camera. Xvero giving the freest fights of his life.
But if this ends as an 8-4 half, which with how some of these rounds have started to go, I wouldn't be overly surprised. That's a little bit more of a problem. So they want to try and stop that early.
Well, round 9 kicking off. A lot of weaknesses for Fnatic. See if they can turn those into advantages. It's unlikely, and with Jemkin having so much impact so far since this operator's been picked up, he'll be a big piece of the puzzle to figure out when it comes to the next round.
Portal closed.
Maybe finding some information here will help them out. Slow start, as expected, but leaning towards the B site, which is much more open.
I wonder if this is down to the Steel Garden. One way to level the playing field would be to use that ultimate, remove the weaponry. So if you sit out of the site, fairly easy to step back. It's a slow ult to activate. And then you don't lose any of your weaponry. You can run back in on the retake. And you can see all of this utility being expended, set up to try and make things that little bit more awkward. Well, there's absolutely nobody here.
Yeah, won't be the Steel Garden used, but instead the gate crash alongside the Paranoia to clear that backside B. We've already seen the impact from Kayak, but so passive are RRQ. They tried to disrupt the plant, they won't find it. Chronicle lands a double poster on the Frenzy, hold on! This is looking very winnable for Fnatic all of a sudden! And Xvero falls quickly. Crashy's getting revenge, catches him looking the other way from the stairs for the MasterCard Thrifty. I really thought this was going to be RRQ taking the lead, Tom.
Yeah, the one thing I was nervous about was once Fnatic actually took the site, I was like, okay, now that Steel Garden is actually really impactful. It was completely meaningless. It just Chronicle hitting a lovely couple of shots, and then I think he even tags up the next player, which the spam, yeah, helps out Boaster. So I spoke about the potential of championship form Chronicle. This was around that, well, as you can see, he's going to be very, very happy with. And what was it?
Here.
What they thought was a setup ends up not working out. 5-4. Fnatic take the lead once again. But the operator is still in play for Jemkin. He's been able to sort of dominate whenever he's in the right place at the right time, but for a lot of this map, it's figuring that out because of how slow Fnatic have been.
So in the previous round, obviously playing off B site, playing a little heavier towards that right side of the map, you're in a position to try to step out of a Steel Garden towards that A site, fight in afterwards. The hope is from RRQ, even if that ult is used. Actually, you probably want the ult to be used. Now it's online for this round.
Yep.
Rez is there. Hunter's Fury. Fnatic have so much to work with. For RRQ.
But here it is.
One round down. They're on the B site this time, completely trapped in. This is a problem. Cushy. He's going to have a swarm of locusts descending upon him. But his weapon is back up. The flash catches, but Cushy, good for one, good for two! Against all odds on the backside. He was caught by the Steel Garden. But he's the one drawing blood till Chronicle again delivers a double.
Chronicle has been impressive. Jemkin rifle retrieved. Crashies has that Hunter's Fury, but using it might be difficult. Nice shock dart, but even still a couple. Looked like they could have gone the other way, but Chronicle still stands tall. The rounds that they've been winning the last couple have mostly come off the back of him. The Sentinel now overtakes Jemkin. He's 11-3 right now, and really overshadows the job that was done by Cushy. The fact is, he was left as sort of the anchor so that they couldn't do that again. He did phenomenal work. 2 kills from the backside, but making it through that smoke, similarly to what Fnatic was struggling with, also seemed like a death sentence.
It's just got to be great to have Chronicle on your team, man. Like we said.
Everything points to RRQ having their struggles on the attack side of this map, and well, at 4-4 after losing the pistol, we're talking about potentially turning into a Grey Half now. Well, they'd have to win themselves this eco round to even have a chance of leveling things up.
Stranger things have happened. It's a good flash to start. The drone's got all the info. They know about the danger up close. Fnatic won't go running brazenly into that, but Cushy's trying to take advantage of the gap. He's being spotted, though. Boaster about to set up a smoke. Oh, he looked a little asleep at the start. Not expecting one yet around that corner, but Chronicle, reliable, takes the pick. Jemkin super low as well, and yeah, the wall is tripped on B, but Fnatic have already put their eggs in this basket. The A site being taken. Xvero tagged low. And a jump around from Kayak will catch him off. There is damage done on the other side, though. Kayak is relatively low. They've managed to draw blood onto Boaster. RQ could make this costly, but I don't know how much impact that's realistically going to have. They needed the round win.
At this stage as well, damage really doesn't mean anything. So many credits for Fnatic to buy back in with, and a 7-round attack side half. That was something they'd be happy with their old composition, with the chamber in the mix. I think now that they've added in the Sage, this is looking incredibly dangerous for RRQ, of course. Looking forward in the series, I do think that the map pool should get better for them. They're comfortable on Corrode. They've picked into Abyss, which I'll be honest, historically, it wasn't good for either of these sides, but hey, that's their choice. Ascent, over the last few months, they've been 1-6, so I think expectations were relatively low, but this is starting to look very rough indeed.
Oh, Jemkin, there we go. The return of the op, and of course it's Chronicle that he finds. A massive scalp to take early on. Player who has bailed Fnatic out of a lot of bad situations. The 7-5 half up for grabs. Up against the team that sent RRQ out of Toronto, the grudge match. Jemkin's going back out for more. Same spot as before. Of course, he's got teammates covering deep into mid, so he doesn't have to worry about his left side. He's covering this cross, and eventually that fight is going to be forced out. Crashies, but it's more importantly Alfier with the spike. He's got two! Alpha walls up, pops the res, uses it as a bait for another, but Xpharaoh delivers. And a 2 versus 2 spawns from this with the ult from Boaster. The spike will be reclaimed, but look at Munyet.
Giving his position away. Clearly aware of the potential paranoia to re-swing, but he's not won the fight. And now Xpharaoh left on just 20 HP. This will be a tough one to win, but it will come down to the timing. If he can find a gap, find some space, maybe there's an opportunity down to just 10. Facing off, and he has managed it with barely any HP left. That is absurd.
A miracle play from Xpharaoh. Isolating each fight, taking them down and putting 5 on the board for RRQ. A damn sight better than it could have been as we go into the halftime. They are trailing by 2. I love the slowdown. The slow-mo on the voice lines, but that looked like it was done.
One enemy
a big
remaining.
swing from Alpha. He was on fire, but Xpharaoh extinguished hope for Fnatic in this round.
At least a little bit of semblance of hope after what was a round that was definitely looking like it would turn into an 8-4 half. Nonetheless, it was the same level of impact. Like, can he now be as good on the entry as he was on the defense? Because it is much, much harder.
Oh, Fnatic! They're giving them a taste of their own medicine! It's the stack up on mid. 3 instead of RRQ's 4. But they have found 2 picks and left Xpharaoh down to 5. A much more successful start. And one of the things I wanted to highlight, Tom, is the man we're on board with right now, Munyet. He has had a tough first half, and a man we have high expectations for. I don't think Fnatic will get to see this side of Munyet for much longer, but for now, certainly a lot more to be desired. And with this pistol, if Fnatic win this, that's both pistols under their belt, which ultimately, in a 7-5 half, the pistol was what made the difference.
Yeah. I think it'd be a bit more damning. What?
All right.
Okay, that's going to help them out a little bit. A full blind shot for one of their players. Munyet's found another. You mentioned him, and he's come alive. And it's starting to get a little bit dangerous. A fight that could change it, but it's the jumping. He's known for his dancing, but he'll stand up as well. It's Boaster to close things out in the pistol round. And as you said, that extra little boost could make all the difference in their map choice.
Oh. RRQ getting a little taste of the UAE chant that we know from the EMEA arena. It's a wild idea as well to do exactly what your opponents put into play. And we've seen this from Fnatic before.
I'm a gardener. I got flowers and shit.
Okay. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what that means, but hell yeah, garden away. Fnatic 8-5. Strong lead, and they're up against Classics. For RRQ, farming those orbs early, the name of the game. You can see the crazy guys containing that A orb while his teammates take it on B, but IX pushed up on mid. Gate crash fading. I don't think he'll stick around too much longer, and indeed, he's already out.
A little bit of a ruse sold on the other side with the salvos. Of course, you can see the direction that they fly from, so doing it from the right side of the map is important. Already being tripped, and that's going to buy that additional little bit of extra time, but they are swarming in. A lot of pressure put onto Chronicle! Was that a triple wallbang? Did he just collapse 2 of them with 1, or was that the second shot? Because it looked like it could have been all of them.
It looked like it was 1 bullet, 3 kills. Maybe we'll get a slow-mo
Yeah, I'm
on
going to need that slowed as much as humanly possible, but that does mean there's an opportunity for the ace, and Crazy Guy does not want to give it to him. This man was confident enough as it is. His 17th kill
left.
already. Well, Crazy Guy, he's trying to go around the world. It seems like Kayak, he is baiting. What a wonderful teammate that this guy is. In fact, they're all trying to give the opportunity
Give him the
for
ace.
this man to get the ace, and he will get it. Chronicle. The first ace for Fnatic in the tournament. And one that, yeah, I'm going to need it slow.
Enemy remaining.
I still don't know.
Hold on. Here we go.
I
That
think
was
it was.
one
I
shot.
think it was one.
One shot, 3 kills. That's unbelievable from Chronicle. And that's what you like to see from a team. Patatek should take some notes.
I do feel incredibly bad for them though, because it's like you're swarming one player, 3 of you all line up at once. That's about as cursed as it gets, but obviously it was only an eco. This is where we need to see a change for RRQ. Kayak, he wasn't spotted in the last round, so he's going to go for the same play. Likely that he may not find anything again. Xfero just jiggling.
He's going to go out. The gate crash going to be used. Surely it's running out of time. There we go. He's back out, but Crashy's out of the round. He's taken down in market, and RRQ use that knowing that rotations will come through. Now they look to pressure towards mid. This is the right read. Fnatic are offering up a fight, and if the numbers from the attack go that way, they could have had a duel. Very heavily favored to themselves. In fact, they still might. Boaster's going to be walled up here. It's an audacious play, but he goes jumping on top of the box. And Xfero in with the early punish, a 3 versus 5 now.
Yeah, I don't mind the idea, but the additional jump made it difficult. Chronicle on the other side, they're going to have at least a little bit of worries about that Guardian after the last round. Alpha yet, he's being watched. Well played by Munya, making sure that lurk can't come in from behind. And while it needs to be a 1v5, but it's not going to happen. A solid round from the side of RRQ, patient in their attack. But as we know, with how clean the last couple have been, there's another buy coming.
Well, it's already a margin better than the last time these two teams faced. It was Fnatic taking it 13-5 with RRQ hitting 6, but they're facing into a full buy now. Like you said, this is a different flavor, perhaps, from Fnatic. 18-5 on Chronicle. And he had a lights-out start to the map, but there has just been next to no stopping him. And in round 16, it'll be a slow, methodical start from RRQ. Pressure towards the A site, but the spike still sat outside B. The salvos sent through to clear wine. It's all about just pushing Fnatic back, limiting how much info, how much control they have to play with.
Kate.
Already having to bait out some of that early utility. Wall being used over into A main. This could be a big part of the game for RRQ with how much is online. Kayak, again, going walkabouts. The reveal will let him know that there's a couple of players to his right, but that's not who he's looking for. He's expecting some form of reaction. The thing is, though, we haven't really seen RRQ caught by any of this. Each time they've been patient. But now with 40 seconds left on the clock, bear in mind that the Vice wall has also been moved into middle, so they have a lot of information on that part of the map. The push, though, not going that way.
The drone already put through on A. Alarm bells ringing. Fnatic know the hit's coming in with that paranoia having landed. Kayak doesn't find much. A quieter performance continues. We look for another hero on this site. Alfier grabs some info, but swings into heavy traffic. Boaster isolated. He'll be taken down after one. Chronicle and Crashies. Okay, that shock dart makes it doable. I was already thinking perhaps the save call. But now, they can go for this. And with Crazy Guy taking a fight alone, he's giving them a real chance. Xfero, so desperately low. They'll play this together with a flash still in play for Chronicle. That's a good way to burst them out into this site. If Xfero doesn't break this one yet, be blinded up. It's going down below. Oh, it's going up top. Okay, they're clearing it. Now looking to fight together with the reveal. They've seen one, they've seen the other, but Xfero lands the shot. And it's all on to Crashies. The drop down should be deadly. A double swing, but Xfero gets ahead of the play. Crashy's running out of time, but he'll catch Munyet as the spike ticks away. Fnatic, it's close, but I think they've got it. Double digits on the board, and you have to look at RRQ there. Xfero, that was a mistake.
Yeah, he was so good for the first fight. That gets the timing perfect on the swing, but I think maybe just a little bit of miscommunication. This shock dart was huge, because as you said, this was going into a 2 versus 4. Instead, it ends up with 1 immediately taken out, and then the aggressive position of Crazy Guy. That is just a poor post plant. Like, I can forgive the guy planting the spike. You don't know that's coming. But from then onwards, you have one guy super aggressive, then you get it into the 2v1, and from that point onwards, you just need to wait for the drop.
That's a shame, and RRQ as well, with the margin of error that they had in terms of economy. This has pushed them to the limit. This could give Fnatic a little bit of momentum to carry it across the line, to at least push up to 12. A win here. I mean, put it this way, RRQ put a lot more pressure on themselves for this round. What could have been their redemption arc.
Closed.
At 9-7, the scoreline closing in, the walls closing on Fnatic. It's looking like a sprint to the finish line for the defense.
One good thing is that RRQ have a lot of potential to pad the gap with ults. Hunter's Fury 1 away. The drone's crossing path, but not really finding out too much, and the pistol shots will be heard, but again, it's just trying to bait that wall being broken. They now look to try and move back to the other side of the map, but this definitely has its risks about it. Fnatic haven't moved. They'll catch the first, and actually that's wonderful from Cushy. 2 players down, Kayak trying to rotate into position. He's hoping someone peeks off it, but they don't. Another control being taken. Fnatic can't afford to fight this. Their economy was already on the brink after that last round. They're just going to have to hold on to their guns.
Well, especially, I'm looking at that A-side take that RRQ were posturing for at the very start of the round, and I'm thinking, well, this is actually disastrous. If they run the same play, not only will individuals be a little bit more ready for that, but if the play goes even if it goes a little bit better for RRQ, the retake with Chronicle and Crashies both now having ults, it's a completely different game. It's so much stronger, especially the Steel Garden. It would have to be convincing in that A push, and instead they decide to go back to the B site. They decide to push into the players who have those ultimates, into the heavier defense setup. Especially looking at Chronicle just as an individual, and then with his utility. But the fact that Cushy finds not one but both of them, complete game changer. That's a course correction on what was a disastrous previous round. 10-7. 3 players save on Fnatic though. They'll be able to fight for this next one.
Yeah, no, they needed all of those guns. With only Crashy surviving in the last round, he's the only one that has any hope for some bonus cash. And even still, it calls into question if they actually want to go for this. It's not the best of purchases if they do. They may opt to just play with the weaker guns that they have, and especially now with a Dimensional Drift Hunter's Fury combo coming in for RRQ, I'd almost say it's not worth the risk.
Love this as well. Boaster's giving the rifle over to Chronicle. He'll play with the Frenzy. That's a team player right there. When Chronicle's having a game like he is, you better be giving him the rifle. Not sure about peeking short with the Frenzy, but it's all for info. They'll fall back. Very early use of the drone as well from Crazy Guy. They're looking to really claim this space towards middle, but Fnatic are responding. They've started to push down through B main, take some deep control of their own. I mean, it's not... Oh, it is being watched, actually. It's Crazy Guy just posted on the angle alongside the trip.
It's the amount of delay that they currently have on that A site. The Thorns have been placed all the way along. Chronicle for a lot of the rounds has been on this B site, so they'll now deep wall, which again will give them information if it's shot to break, and if it's not, they'll know that position is clear, and instead they set up a firing squad around the sheer. But this is what I've enjoyed from RRQ. They've been methodical at slowly breaking their way through this utility. Information will be had that there's 2 players around this position. Steel Garden thrown in to try and remove that weaponry, but Jemkin may be already doing enough. 30 seconds left on the clock, and
30 seconds.
Oh, there's
left.
nobody here anymore, at least with the weaponry. And this hold into mid, it could be a problem. That's a spike down.
Mid.
They need to run back into the hands of Chronicle. He's waiting, but he can't quite win the fight. Jimkin once again with another massive round individually. And for a second, that looked like that could get chaotic, but it didn't even seem like a problem in the end.
Well, it definitely could have. I mean, you look at the TP from Munyet, the fact that he goes from the shadows, the fact that Jamkin's able to make his way all the way onto that side through market to spot those players in the first place. Those are the guys who would be running down mid to pressure these attackers who've just lost their weapons. But instead, it ends up countering that steel guard. Hunter's Fury thrown through as well.
See, I think the main one there was the getting rid of the thorns on shore and then having that shear removed. The second that was gone, their execution just picked up pace massively.
Well, the barriers are going up once again. Timeout finished. And we've seen this trip a few times. It was in the previous round, and actually Crazy Guy was holding, letting them take the space and looking to punish them as they tried to walk around the trip or walk deeper into the trip. And it's all just to deny that early shock dart that's been put through. And of course, Fnatic for now have no way to know that that info is online late round. It's given RRQ a lot more to play with. The wall going to be used, but broken so quickly. They know there's numbers here, but RRQ have been doing a lot of posturing.
But yeah, look, that's Paranoia and Sage Wolf gone within the first 40 seconds of the round. They're not going to mind that at all.
No, they're very successful in terms of baiting out their opponent's utility and not overcommitting either. Sometimes you see that work out well half of the time, and the other half you're losing a player or two in overcommitments. That doesn't seem to be the case for RRQ.
No.
Very contained when they're baiting out that util early round.
No, I think they've genuinely been fantastic. Not overdoing it, not taking too many risks. They're now going to go back to the exact position that they sort of baited out before, the slows. Will delay them at least a little bit. And there are quite a few players here for Fnatic. Weaponry, at least on Boaster, definitely not ideal. But again, this is just posturing. They now head back towards Kayak. Now, he's been having a rough game. They could definitely use him helping them out. And with the Hunter's Fury in combination, that creates a distraction. That's the spike on the deck. 15 seconds left. This one's looking a little bit more rushed. They need to get a move on. And Alpha and Chronicle at the back of this site. All they need to do is hold the line at least a few seconds. And in fact, they've already got the Thorns to do that job for them. Fnatic find their form. And of course, once more, into the hands of Chronicle.
Yeah, I like the start of the round from RRQ, getting towards short, baiting all of that, but the problem is when they rotate back, having drained the utility belts of their opponents, Fnatic have 3 players close by who immediately hear that. The rotates are instant, they get towards that site, and then you're playing a slow, first of all, 2 points. First of all, you're playing a slow round against Fnatic. They know how to play against slow rounds. They play a lot of them. But secondly, you're running with 15 seconds left into a Vice setup, and that Vice setup belongs to Chronicle. Now I think you're crazy.
I also want to say as well, I want to give credit to Crashies. I think the timing of that Hunter's Fury, I think without it, they probably clear Kayak much quicker, and then maybe you have an extra 15 seconds on the clock to get into the site rather than 8.
Yeah, which also comes back to they heard the steps rotating away. Kayak needs to get out of there, and he does quite quickly. Yeah, it was a little too telegraphed from RRQ. 11-8. Margin for error thinning, and already the economy on the rocks, but Crazy Guy comes in with a big ult online, especially on the attack side.
There's a lot of angles that can be cleared by this, a lot of cheeky spots that can be denied. But this is both teams with their economy on the brink. This could be a chance for RRQ to equalize, or it could be the end of the map. Kayak again, not quite connecting, got to go forward. Position being created, awkward, and the openers for RRQ are fantastic. Nobody really here to try and deny them anymore. The spams from Crashies are hopeful at best, especially with them knowing his exact position. And it now comes down to the same decision for Fnatic. Do you risk this?
Oh, I love this from Jamkin, 10 HP in a heads-up duel. He's not going to do very well, so he decides to play that very late wraparound. That should seal the deal. And even if Fnatic decide to go back and save these weapons, he will be waiting. Alpha down, Boaster follows, and Crashies inside the smoke. It's soon to fade. I don't think he's got a great chance of holding on to this weapon. And he won't do any damage. It's a flawless round for RRQ. The climb back, just 2 rounds behind again, but These teams have been keeping a healthy buffer between them. If that continues, Fnatic will hit 13 pretty soon. We need to see RRQ continue this form.
Yeah, Crazy Guy's utility in this round just made that B site hold so awkward. It forced a really aggressive fight from Kayak. And I'll be honest, in terms of what we've seen in EMEA, this isn't comparable. Like, he is having a really rough time on the stage at the moment. He's been caught up by Monyet, but this is a player we expect to have large amounts of impact. Speaking of another, though, that's a nice shot from Alpha here. It removes that lurking player of Xpero. Maybe gives them a little bit of extra space. The problem, though, is Crashy's has already gone down in response, and the salvo will deny any aggression.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about pistols for most players. Kayak's in a good spot. Monyet crosses over, but he's now seeing Chronicle, and Kayak lands the headshot. An outlaw and a rifle picked up. An advantage in manpower. A res online for Alpha. An ult for info if Boaster wants to use it.
Here.
But Kayak's already got plenty to work with. This is now winnable for the defensive side, and RRQ need to tighten up the ship. They also need a pick, and that's what Jemkin gives them. Cushy following up as well. Now a 2v2, but the res will be used. Fnatic not looking to let this round slip just yet. The flash pops, and I love the thorns to the back, but they don't get activated, and Cushy continues to deliver on the backside. Boaster landing one, leaves Cushy alone, but it's a 1v1, and with Boaster so desperately low, and the clock draining, it's Cushy to find all five. RRQ just one behind.
He has been so impressive throughout this map so far. There's been rounds that have gone late where you see him run in and get a double, but this was all him. Sure, maybe there were 6 kills to be had in the round because of the res, but I don't think anybody on the RRQ side of things is going to be too worried about that one. A solid hold to end it out, moving him up to 19 on the board, overtaking Jemkin. But this is where Fnatic now have themselves a bye. The last round was a lot of missing pieces, but a big opportunity. Now is where they need to recover because RRQ have been building into this attack side.
Oh, here we go. Jemkin finding the info. Cushy finding the tags and finding the IGL of Fnatic. He will lead from the death screen, but Chronicle able to trade things back, removing this extra smokes in the late round. That's going to be quite the blow. It looks like Fnatic want to get ahead of this. They've got 3 players in heaven, but a flash primed and ready. They're thinking about getting aggressive as the Rose Garden goes through. In comes Kayak. He's found one. A wall bang onto Crazy Guy, but Jemkin, he's keeping this, well, at least under control for a moment, even with the pistol in play. Late round for Xpero's going to be all that it comes down to, but he's got to swing into a plant position that he just cannot deny the defuse from. 12 to 10, Fnatic, they edge out this round, and they've got 2 chances to take the map.
Yeah, it does feel like every single time there's a moment that it looks like RRQ are going to get back into this. Fnatic just find an extra level, an extra little bit of form, and started with another big kill from Chronicle, but it is just the swarm of the site, not allowing them to get into those post plants.
Hello, hello, where are you, bro? Hello, bro. Where are you, bro? Are you Turkish police, bro?
2 rounds left for RRQ to hit an OT. Manageable with the economy that they've got to play with.
It feels like they deserve it. Like, considering they've lost both pistols in this game, it's been a fight back every single time. Kayak is going to get himself into the corner.
Okay, Crush.
Is this something that's checked? It is, and while Jemkin has been winning that fight time and time again, his sight hold, though, has been devastating. They're walking into Chronicle's domain, and thus far this game he's been dominant.
Yeah, Chronicle has been the difference maker. Crashies has been pretty reliable. The utilities keeping them out of Boathouse for now. But the push comes to a slow for RRQ. The spike retrieved. They haven't set their sights on it just yet. The run through the smoke successful for Xpero. With Chronicle already gone, Boaster and Alpha have a difficult decision. Going for this Oh, well, it's no longer a decision. No debate. Jemkin's down, and it's Xfero and Munyet against Boaster and Alpha.
They've got a real opportunity. Back into the 2 versus 2. Maybe expectations that there'll be somebody within this smoke already. Alfia not really willing to risk it, but eventually jumps through, but doesn't realize maybe there's somebody on the other side. They will now, and even going to trade it out. The TP used as bait. Monye to try and keep them in the map, and he cannot do it. Alfia standing once again. Actually running the comp in the past, Alfia was actually running the Jet. So it was like you had that double duelist that I think worked wonderfully for Fnatic on that attack side. And obviously there's benefits of having the other util, but
I must wait a moment.
I don't know. I kind of wanted to see the double duelist flare come out of Fnatic with that Waylay in play. We'll see what ideas they have, at least for now. Kayak going walkabouts.
That's exactly it. Straight down through mid. Fnatic starting out confidently. They're going to be greeted by Xfero, who's been there to punish them a couple of times on the previous map. That stun doesn't actually catch him. It's Jamkin to find a pick, but it's traded back by 2 and slowed down in the re-aggression through mid. RRQ, by the time they get through that choke, get up.
Oh, the timing.
Onto the stairs. I thought Fnatic would be safely out of there, but yeah, Kayak has been caught back to a 3v3.
Crashy's just holding the angle, but doesn't manage to land. Pistol definitely not done yet. Bear in mind, Fnatic have won both of them so far, and that was seemingly the difference maker in terms of the rounds in the last map. All 3 players of RRQ grouping up outside this B site, and after a little peek in that direction, it feels like Fnatic have got completely the wrong read. This is going to be a free plant, and they're going to be as far away as humanly possible.
Left.
I don't know what information they had that this was going to be an A hit, but whatever it was, it has baited them completely.
RRQ have also done a great job of keeping their utility here. Munyet not burning up a paranoia. Taking this as a contact play now gives them a lot more to work with when it comes to this post plant. I'm curious to see whether this was going to be used in an aggressive way with the position of Jemkin to try to paranoia him through when they hear these steps of the retake, but instead they're playing back on the side.
They got both of the shock darts and the recon as well, so there's a lot available for them.
There's paranoia alarm
to try and have their sweaty little lineups. There's the paranoia just to kind of keep Jemkin safe in the corner. It does mean they know he's there. Crashy's able to clear already. Potential, but it's just going to be the firefights from Crazy Guy, but it's worked out. One found already within the Smokers Chronicle. He's trying to continue from before, and immediately it's going to land himself another shot. It's whether or not he has enough time. He does not. It was incredibly close for another Chronicle miracle. But instead, it will be RRQ taking the round.
And we know how good he is with the Classic. We saw the Ghost in the last map, and now the Sheriff here. But 0.31 of a second stands between them and success. And this, as you said, was the difference maker. When you look back on the previous map, they won. Fnatic won by 3 rounds, and they got a 4-0 start in terms of those pistols and follow-ups. It makes all the difference. Maybe it will here for RRQ as well. This is, you know, you look at Ascent last time, that was what sent them out of Toronto. They were 13-5 on it up against Fnatic. But now this one, we're going into unknown territory in terms of these two, Abyss and Corrode head-to-head. But I am curious to see in the rifle rounds how this comp is going to play out, because like I said, there was a lot of punish for the role that Jemkin is playing.
Oh dear.
Player standing. Flawless.
You can see the tweets already.
All 5 players going down. They gambled on one side of the map. They got the side of the map wrong. They don't want to give the orbs over on the rotation either, so economically, not bad for RRQ. They get to keep all their guns, but they don't gain any of the orbs for it. That will put them 2-0 in the lead, though. And with 4 rifles onto the board, there's even an argument for buying up a 5th one, but they'll keep themselves the Marshal. Set up very early in towards this B site. It seems to be their favored of the 2 thus far. We'll see if that continues throughout the map.
Stunned hell, there's no way Kayak's getting super aggressive here on the back of it. No, they will just sit and wait, but here comes a dive from Jemkin. Kayak with the immediate punish, he gets out. Has his refract to go back, but doubtful that's going to be used. They've made it now into a 5v4, denying the plant. Oh no, it's not. It's on the other side of the box, pardon me. Cushy's able to get the plant down nice and open.
Yeah, I guess they didn't expect just for him to plant almost in front of them. It's a bit of a gamble with this many players there, but it sets them up nicely into the post plant. All 5 players from Fnatic and still a decent amount of utility. Recon already being sent out to try and clear some of that backline, but in fact it's a much deeper post plant. The spams is the aim of the game. A 1-for-1 trade, but bear in mind what they lost it on last time. It was the time, it was the clock that went against Fnatic. Already you see the fragment into position. At times starting to tick down once again, and they're only just getting onto it. The shock dart, it's going to go through, but it's missed. I don't think it's quite as close this time around. They will be able to get it done. Fnatic have a round, but if that shock was a little deeper, they did not.
Just an inch to the right, and that's a completely different game. Yeah, that's unfortunate for RRQ, but they make that one crazy competitive after losing opening pick and then pushing into the site in a 5v4. Numbers against them. And they managed to run that clock way down, that flash popping just a millisecond too late. I guess they weren't expecting Crashies to have pushed up quite that aggressively. Now, 2-1, but the damage done in that previous, it's eating away at a few of the credits. The full buy for RRQ, though, nonetheless, and a slow defaulty approach from them.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Look how passive they are on B. They've not taken any of that early control, so even the aggression that's come out from Kayak is not really going to tell them too much. Shock darts even being put through or being taken. Like the ruse is that, okay, if our Sova's on this side of the map, likelihood is that's where the push will be going. It does make me a little bit nervous that, at least for the moment, he was there alone with the spike. But the drone re-clearing, oh, this is wonderful. They've sold a double fake. They've moved back so that then when the drone goes through, of course, Fnatic are going to rotate another player back to the other side of the map. Still having 2 players here, though, and the drone contact will probably be a quick scurry back to the A site.
The decision then, when you see this utility come through from Alfear, do you stick around, do you look for the fight, or do you simply back off? And it looks like he's made the right call. And Crashies, he didn't think he needed a fallback. He should have been safe inside the smoke, but he has been taken down. RRQ, I mean, Fnatic tried to deny RRQ the opening pick, and they still get it. That's a crazy unlucky fight for Fnatic.
Look at Alpha as well. He's 1 HP. Like, the spams have done so much damage to the side of Fnatic. But getting back into the site is going to be a difficult one. They're still going for it. They're still trying to make that space. Kayak's actually won the opener. That's not a bad way to find themselves back into the round, but it's this late wraparound from Mumya that could cause them problems. The fight on the site actually going the way of Fnatic and an old school cam and the spike is going to be a nasty surprise. It means once again they haven't been able to get on it. Have they heard Mumya? No, they haven't. But he's going to be caught. A last second check from Chronicle gets the job done. It could have been a wonderful moment for Mumya, but instead he is caught.
Yeah, just great work connecting the dots in the end for Chronicle. Not sure who made that call, but with Omen being there in the early round, they realize he's been missing for a little bit too long. It's a drone sent up top, but it wasn't even the tag, it was just a wild spray through. Guesstimating Crashy's path out of there.
This is our map! We have a map! We have a map!
Nice retakes, boys.
That was a big conversation on the desk, right, about how the eras, the previous eras of Fnatic have always had a home ground. I think the most prominent in my mind is always going to be Icebox back in the day. They don't have that here.
I would say Lotus, but you know.
Lotus, I mean, it's more recent. It's not as niche. I like the aged one.
Well, already taking a casualty. But the weaponry, well, the only rifle that's had is going to be the upgrade. I said I wanted to see those stingers. Well, I've got it in map number 2. Shock dart out, but a single bullet onto any of these players would be certain demise. Even still, though, the time ticking. And that's already been a bit of a burden so far for Fnatic.
It's been a much better start for Mumya, and it looks like he'll have pressure on him again. stun lined up and fired through. Here comes the flash. I'll be caught by it. Hunter's Fury, though, sent through as a response. Drop down is good for Boaster. He'll find the first. Munyet surrounded. Picks his fight from the corner. Boaster, though, putting the pressure on, and Munyet will be taken out by the outlaw. Fnatic, they started this out on the back foot, but the lead is now theirs.
Yeah, they've looked better and better as the retakes have gone on. I think Boaster being able to bait the player in main, the Hunter's Fury, not quite having the impact that they would have desired. Even still, from a low buy, it's not bad, but it's the committal of the ults late that definitely makes me say that it's a bit more costly than you might think. You look at 5 Stingers and you go, okay, that's fine, but the loss of the Hunter's Fury...
Listen to me, Jake, I'm trying to tell you something.
I can't move, Alpha.
Oh, it worked anyway. 3-2. A retake after a retake after a retake, but RRQ, well, they probably feel like the B site after it being half a second and a slightly missed shock dart might be the better of the two for them. They're heading there early.
Knife is broken. Jemkin, though, already in, taking the space, but Kayak's there to punish. We've seen this before. He just gets out. Happy with his opening pick, with the advantage claim. The spike making it to backside. This is normally the aftershock goes down. This time they try to deny the close plant. The wraparound from Munyet catches them in that transition period, and it's a 4 versus 4. RRQ have a late flank coming in from Xfero as well, covering all their bases. There is still a trip covering it. These players on site could be under pressure. Kayak, that ult's not quite going to hit Munyet up in heaven. Xfero and Munyet both finding theirs. And then now that flank putting so much pressure on. Fnatic need to be quick, they gotta run forward. There's gaps in the play, and RRQ are exploiting them. 3-3 now, leveled back, and it seems difficult to separate these teams in the early stages of any map.
Yeah, no, I really like that every round we're seeing a variation of those late flanks coming through. Like, they haven't always been successful, but this fight for Xfero was everything. And I think Munyet and his positioning has been sublime. Like, he's the reason they win this round. He's able to get a little pick on the corner, and then maneuver up top outside of the ult and find another as they try and switch in. Because of that, they're slower to get the kill onto Cushy. Great round from him individually. That trip's taking a worryingly long time to set up. If they had swung that corner, that man is certainly dead, but hey, he got it done in the end.
Already you can see they've spotted Boaster, and they know with the knife popping that no one is on the site. Very quick to take the space.
Well, there's the trip.
Jemkins landed himself up top, a different route than was planned for by that trap wire. Hunter's Fury active, but denied immediately. The ult from KO taking all the abilities, all the ulties away, and buying so much time. It's Fnatic will have to now wait. They've got so much util for the retake, but that clock is going to run low by the time they can use it.
Well, it has been running low every single time. Munyet faking out the idea, and well, Cushy's just swung into them. He knew where they were. That's messy though. Both of them has somehow managed to find 3. This round was looking done, but it's left all on to Munyet. He's been revealed. They know where he is, but he wants to take that fight, and he will not win it. Alfia onto the defuse again, and this time plenty on the clock to be able to get it over and done with. But I'm just looking at Boaster. What was the third kill? Did that player get pinged and I didn't realize it? Because that looked so clean from him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's straight through the smoke. Even the second, he was lucky to survive. I don't know if we'll catch it from his POV, but there were a lot of shots fired his way. It looked done. One through the smoke, another player whiffs, and then the reveal is there to take Cushy. A good job that that reveal went out just before Crashies went down.
Hello, bro. Munyet, hello. How do you think, brother? Hello, brother.
Hey, I'll say that the last guy who waved at Munyet had a bad day. Benji remembers.
Well, Alpha, he's clearly feeling confident down on that stage. We're gonna have the Blade Storm activated for Jemkin. Deep play towards the A site for Fnatic. Early doors taking a lot of control. And RRQ hasten their pace as a response. Straight through mid. There's 2 players quite passive on this B site, ready for the fight. Crashies slowing down the players in mid, making a bit of an accordion effect. This is leaving more isolated battles Alpha here dies after just one, though. With that utility down, the player covering the cross to sight out of the round completely. They now have to focus in the late round and take a look at this play coming through. You've talked about the late round flanks.
Yeah.
Well, Mun yet might have the best one yet.
He's low on HP, so he has to pick his moment. The rest of the team have been able to place themselves in the back of the site. Chronicle with a single kill might even be able to just rolling thunder them all off the map, but they are waiting. They don't want to overface, they don't want to get aggressive. They are giving the time for Monyet to make potentially the play of the round. He's watching everybody. It's a little bit messy, but he'll still get the one. Not quite as much as he would have hoped for, but the rest of the players have still been just waiting patiently. Cushy again, swinging from the same angle. And this guy has been unstoppable from that spot. A fourth kill from him. And well, once again, we find ourselves level. It's been the story of the match.
It really has a perfect storm of parity here on the server. But Cushy,
this is Spot.
Every time you see him there in the post plant, he's able to deliver. And I'll tell you what, Alfier might be regretting his words now. You're going to keep losing retakes. Well, not this time, says Cushy. 4-4.
Look at the economy as well.
Neck and neck, and this is where RRQ should be retaking their lead.
Oh yeah, there would have to be some well, crazy individual plays or mistakes, and most likely a bit of both if they were to lose this round. Alfia has a lot of info in towards the A site. He's playing in mid, obviously trying to avoid any of the KO utility if it was thrown through. Of course, Cushy getting so many kills that he already has that null command back online. And the support that Alpha has is just the jiggle peak of Chronicle. It definitely leaves him out to dry, but when you have a buy like this, you have to take risks.
Well, the thing is, you've heard the cam on A. You've heard the drone go through as well on RRQ, and obviously the response here from Crazy Guy was to drone it himself, make sure they haven't taken the space. And now they're starting to expect those rotations have come through. 4 players outside it.
Right here.
Only Crashy's here to stop them, and it looks like they have done a remarkable job of avoiding this play early on. Now the thing is, that trap's still online. Alfie is far enough away to not get caught by the null command, but they will find it before they run on into it. Late flank being set up as well by Xfero. He goes down, that is a rifle gifted over, but Alpha is going to have to really tick all the boxes to clear him out.
Oh,
he saw the pistol, but now he certainly spotted him, but Alpha lands the shot. They want to be patient on Fnatic, but RRQ get ahead of it. They're playing aggressive, finding the double. A big advantage now.
Yeah, I think most of the danger is gone.
Right here.
Alfia with the rifle is the one piece of the puzzle, and well, nobody's going to find Crashy's corpse, that's for sure. And for Alfia, it then gets to the point of like, okay, do you just hold on to the weapon? How much damage are you really hoping to do here? The answer is absolutely nothing. And Chronicle with no orbs needed to be gained. I think the only thing he can either hope for is a rifle or the taste of the spike.
5 on the board for RRQ, the lead reclaimed, but I think most of us are expecting the next to go to Fnatic. Not because of their comp or their economy or the way they're playing, it's because of how this game's been.
Yeah.
Back and forth. Had plenty of games of tennis here.
Yeah, I really
Looks like another.
I want to give credit again to RRQ for how methodical they are in these moments. Like, even when they use the null command into the site, they're still checking for those trips. They know that that's one of the main dangers, is just a kill trip somewhere on the corner. They're checking and pinging for the cams. Like, they are not aggressive in the way they're doing things. They're smart with it. Very enjoyable team to watch. A set play, though, being thrown in for Fnatic. The util forced them back, but unfortunately for Kayak, there was nobody caught in the stun.
And RRQ don't just run to the other side of the map, knowing now that they're facing in to that rolling thunder. They'll still compete for the orb, but with 4 players here, it's going to be the exact same round minus the null command. They've lost one to Chronicle.
Down A.
That rolling thunder will be put through. It almost sent Monyet off the map, and instead it sent him into the waiting arms of Chronicle, but a 3v3, and again this mid-play. Alpha got the better of Xfero last time, but this time it's revenge for RRQ Cypher. The B site now open as we can see. Oster getting his rifle out. It looked like a little late, but he'll end up equalizing things.
Okay, well, throughout this, Chronicle didn't move. I can understand why. You've seen a kill on the other side of the map. You kind of had the expectation that they go the other way. He's now started to claim some control. Perfect positioning, but it's a little bit labored. It's given an opportunity. Crazy Guy's been able to get out of the grab well. Because of that, he gets that early fight. And Boast has been wrapping around the backline, going all the way around the map to try and get in from behind. He does have the Cosmic Divide available, but placing it while in the open would be a massive risk. He's just trying to make his way into the site, and Crazy Guy, well, it's been too long. He started to realize that he has to be coming in from behind. The tap on the spike reveals his opponent's position. But the clock is in his favor. Boaster, though, will just about be able to take it. He's been good in these late round scenarios. And who would have guessed it? 5-5 and another retake of sorts.
It was the Hunter's Fury online, though, for RRQ, for Crazy Guy in that moment. I think that's going to put so much pressure on Boaster. The fact that he goes for the tap, not trying to bait out the ultimate instead, trying to bait out the player. It was a great read, but this guy would still be sticking around up close. That could have played out very badly for Fnatic, but instead, a further lead is denied. The IGL's on his feet. Boaster's having a good game so far as well. And at 5-5, both teams dumping their economy into this one. This round may well be a fight for the lead.
For RRQ.
At halftime.
They're going to take some early space. It will be spotted. There we go, just a little bit of patience. Jemkin still looking like he wants to challenge this, maybe expecting a reaction. The A-site split, not something we've seen too much of. It's a very tight angle to try and make your way through. That's why Crashies is just happy to try and hold this one. Dart up, stun, keeps them locked in, and well, the players attempting to make it through A main are kind of stuck until they get through this choke.
Cage trigger.
They have done a great job so far on the attacking side. And dealing with Alphaear's utility, it doesn't feel like he's getting a lot off those traps, constantly being destroyed. Always caution on the push through. It will be the same again.
He's using this Fnatic to clear mid.
Fnatic group up here. 4 players moving into heaven, but RRQ want to take the fight to them. Boaster and Chronicle, though, good for the duel. In goes the Hunter's Fury. It's a narrow laneway. Doesn't land for more than the one, though. 4 versus 3. Oh, Moniette! He's just delivered a double. Managed to find them, fall back, and then the trap on the other side reveals one of the last players, Boaster, the one that was unknown. Alpha will be caught by Crazy Guy in the 1v1. Back and forth as it went. It's RRQ for 6.
Yeah, Munya's having a game. Every single time it seems like when he's in the right place, he delivers. That will be the lead. Pick back up. We mentioned it, that it was a close first half in the last map, and the pistol was what made the difference. It seems like it might end up being the case again. Of course, RRQ were the ones to take it in this one. Come on, just look at what is on the board for Fnatic in this round. This series for Kayak has definitely been a nightmare one. We've yet to really see him deliver on either the Yoru or the Waylay. And what is a fast-paced take once again for RRQ.
Jemkin looking to harvest souls, caught by the stun, yet he still survives. Kashi again, but it's Boaster with a double, breathing life into Fnatic. But in a 2v3, still on the back foot.
He loves the cam on the spike.
And it got down just in time. That shock dart landed just a little bit too late. And Crashies, he'll have no more chance to play with the bow. Last man standing, Alphaear. He's got a classic now.
Stinger at range.
Rifle. But better than the classic, perhaps. Well, maybe not, actually. It depends. Certainly ended up with a better rifle.
That is what RRQ have been so good at. They're not going to give him a single fight. Just jiggle peeking, baiting him into taking awkward positions. He doesn't have anything to play with. The time against him. And look, even at the end, the cam will be what decides the round. Just making sure that there is no fight to be had. The half will be won by RRQ. And well, they stopped all those retakes from happening again and again after the last few rounds.
It was a razor's edge between Triumph and Tragedy in that first map. the pistol rounds ultimately cost RRQ the chance to be 1-0 up here, but they are not letting go of hope on map number 2.
Camera taken out.
A 7-5 scoreline, a strong performance from them across the board. Cushy stepping up to new heights, but I think you really look.
Difference. The fact is, though, I'm going to be looking at RRQ and what they've got on this defensive side. I think they've had a great start to this map. But if they want to survive going into that lower bracket, they need to make sure that they close this one out.
Well, this is their best chance so far. The lead by 2. Pistol round from Fnatic. Have to have Ascent. It was a bloodbath to start it out. Cushy getting aggressive, and he's being tagged up. It's time to fall back. Same for Crazy Guy. Taking some scars early on, but yet to drop a player. Question is, do they have the read right? As we see a lot of this defensive side flock towards the B side, and it certainly seems like for the moment that's where Fnatic want to take it. But I am seeing Boaster clearing a lot of space on A.
Oh, it's almost an early pick. Kayak eventually will find one, but he's traded out by Cushy. Again, he seems to love this B site. But with space being held, this was something that the old Fnatic on this map loved to do. They just leave Boaster in the spawn. Crashies, though, has been caught, looking like maybe he wanted to try and get out of there. Instead, they're now walking into a site that I imagine they believe to be clear, but xFaroe definitely still waiting. And actually, he's in the perfect position. Now they try and split back through. They'll be able to deal with him, and in fact, Boaster's caught a couple. One of the remaining players incredibly low, but they need to get this plant in, and Boaster holding the line.
10 seconds left.
He's found himself 3 already, but he's the last healthy player. Alpha down to 25. That's Sheriff. A 6 chambered up against him, and it's Boaster to deliver his 4th of the round. A big play from the IGL. We just highlighted him, and for good reason.
Yeah, no, impressive stuff. And as said, like when you look back at their old composition where they had that double duelist, a lot of the time they would leave him behind as this hard lurk if he's setting up utility from afar and basically not allowing you to push across the map. This, though, was a different story. He completely took the A site on his own and then ended up clearing out the players as they went to rotate. A brilliant round from Boaster. And well, we mentioned the importance of the pistol rounds in the last map. They're even in this one.
Conversion here. Oh, Alpha under pressure. He has been taken down.
It's a lurk, though.
It's only classics from RRQ. But now they've managed to find themselves a Marshall. Alongside damage, that can be a very valuable weapon in a round like this. But they will be forced into the retake as the plant secured on this A site. And the question for Fnatic is, how do you want to play this? Especially with the range advantage going back towards mains. Not a bad idea, but conscious of Monyet being able to just smoke them off. They want to stay a little bit aggressive, keep some control.
Oh, nice
but the Cam has spotted them. They know exactly where to fight. RRQ have all the info. They're putting the pieces together, and it's Fnatic coming crumbling down. That late Cam from xFaroe has given them a chance, but he can't convert. It's Boaster to save the round with the Red Bull clutch.
I'm not sure that's the way they really wanted to win the round, but maybe for him that's a nice little confidence boost. Not that it seems like he needs it. A safe pair of hands in the late round was what I said, but I was talking about his utility, not so much just the raw individual aim. Well, that was incredibly messy. The aggressive positions helping out the flash of Cushy that did so much work to get them back into spot. But then just winning those fights with the classics, that's a dangerous spot to be from, and by the looks of it, Fnatic have invested quite heavily back into this one. They might leave themselves in a bit of trouble next round.
We'll see how the economy settled as players start to fall.
Oh, hey!
He's got one up top. That's another rifle. This is a full body now! Kayak is double connected, and he's hungry for more. Blood in the water, and he's swimming straight towards xFaroe. Just about manages to survive that engagement. The Cypher healthy towards the spawn, but a 5 versus 3. that investment for Fnatic paying off.
But that was the man we wanted to see. He's been missing throughout the majority of this series. Bushy trying to take space back through. This is not going to be easy. Maybe it is. There's a gap. A spot for him to take a fight. But look how passive the remaining players are. Cushy's found another. Making this one interesting for sure. They've dodged themselves that knife. And now already that time being forced. And Boaster and Chronicle combined. Holding the line. The man next to him is meant to be the superstar. But Boaster is stealing the day.
Popping and locking it down there on the stage. Didn't see the same reaction from Chronicle, but I think he's still pretty happy to take this round. And you see the idea there from RRQ. As soon as they tap the spike, they know the knife didn't hit anyone. They have a grab well. We need to push. And they just weren't expecting there to be...
I'm turning into a monster!
Oh my god, bro.
He's going to have a duet with Rihanna soon.
Imagine being the guy on the other side of the stage. That is literally like a parent embarrassing their child, which is funny, as we've already witnessed. There's been plenty of upsets, plenty of teams falling into the lower bracket. With Billy, China #1, currently sat down there. I don't think RRQ want to join them.
I think especially going down like this, I mean, look, it's still a very tight game, but now they've got pistols. You should be looking at a 9-7 scoreline. And, you know, if Chronicle's the one digging your grave, well, hey, listen, plenty of people have fallen into that pit hole. Alpha, up for contest as best player in the world at one point in Kayak, the guy coming up from the Tier 2. Looking remarkable, the young gun, but you're getting diffed by Boaster. That's something that I think you know.
He's a young man.
He is, yeah. And as the desk was highlighting, his Stage 2 performance was lacking a little bit individually. But we've seen that. The guy's got a lot of responsibilities. Right now, it seems like he's the brains and the brawn down on that stage.
Kayak taking the space once again. Spam not quite finding anything. Of course, there's not a whole lot to play with in this round, so it might be a chance for him to farm. He already has ult online, but I think the confidence far more valuable for Fnatic at this stage. The duelist trying to get their way back into the game, and that's exactly what's happening in this one. A cleanup with only 2 standing and plenty of utility denying anybody swinging that planter. For the remaining players, can they do any damage? That's not a bad start, but Alfia quick to respond. And an easy round for Fnatic.
And you look at Fnatic there, they do give RRQ a lot of opportunities. A bunch of individual fights taken, swinging into Sheriffs, it's risky, but for RRQ, they're not getting the shots off, and that's a problem. Because now you start to talk about confidence on one side for Kayak, building that is huge, but you go into a round like that, you see, we had the chance. They're disrespecting us now. They're starting to just run it down at us. They need to see a bounce back pretty soon. This is 4 in a row now on the attack side, but a 4-0 start, we've seen it many times. And many times we've seen that team end with 4 or 5 rounds in the half. This is RRQ's chance to prove that it was just a hiccup, an early half upset.
The big thing for me is the operator. When that came into play on the defensive side of Ascent, it was a massive game changer. That's where Jimkin really did the damage. The problem thus far, and a problem that, again, I still remember back to the beginning of the season where Fnatic played, I think it was versus Gentlemates. They loved the A-site takes. Seems like they've developed a taste for B, and that's where Jimkin will be waiting for them.
Yeah, it's the still water that stagnates. It's time to switch it up. Fnatic straight to the B site. The op shot not landed, and quite a bit of damage done in return. X-Pharaoh falls. Utility now. Those trap plays no longer there to work with, and Alpha gets the info on the back of it. Oh, crazy guy trying for the punish. He finds himself falling.
Here.
In a 5v3, that off needs to start delivering, but the opportunities are few and far between with trades lightning fast for Fnatic. Double digits acquired, and they are on the path to success.
Yeah, this is starting to look pretty damning for RRQ. The attack side looking stellar from Fnatic. It started with clutches, it started with individual brilliance, but now it's starting to become all but dominant. easy openers, and even the null command was committed in that round by Cushy. That was one of the few ults that they had available to them. A panic pull. It's starting to look like they may need that extra time, as this defensive side of the map they chose, bear in mind, not looking good at all.
Let's see if things change in the next round. Here it's Sheriff's. Individual's going to be relied upon. The cam already spots Jemkin. The door has to be broken open, and as he fades away, Munyet fades out of the round, trying to cover his teammate. 4 Sheriffs now left in play, and for Fnatic, grouping and hitting a site, it's the right call. It's what you want to see happen from our perspective, and you can see they've made that call.
Yeah, the worry as well is, like, the next buy, round number 19, potential for every single ultimate bar maybe the Neural Theft to be online for Fnatic. Like, they haven't had to use anything. The Neural Theft was used in the last round. But if they're clever here with like hoop plants, well, there you go. There's one. That's Chronicle's ult. Maybe they send Crashies out to try and hunt, although he's always there to just sit passive with the shock darts and the recons. But it leaves things in such a terrifying spot. At least the ults will also be there for RRQ, even if it's just via deaths.
Well, Kayak, he's in a lot of trouble. He looks to be in a lot of trouble. In fact, he'll take down 2 before he falls. The ults online for Fnatic in the next are looking deadly for RRQ. No need to give them even more, especially with Crashies 2 away from that Hunter's Fury. Going down to the spike is the correct play, but now back against the wall. It's been 6 straight rounds for Fnatic. A pause just called in the previous by RRQ. This is what they will have talked about. The rifle round has to be theirs.
Yeah, but again, you're going to have to break through all of those ultimates, and sure, they have some of their own, but...
Munyet! Hello, Munyet! Look at me again! Hello! Look at me again, bro! Oh, he's not. He gets scared.
He also has headphones on.
It would be worrying if he looked over.
I don't think he can hear you, but I appreciate the effort. Althea clearly feeling it. Well, this time, Munyet's revenge hasn't really looked like it's taken its toll. 4 rounds ahead, 6 in a row, and high-impact ultimates on board. Fnatic, though, are taking mid-control.
There.
There's been a challenge in the last couple, but the success hasn't been there. Cushy's been one of the few glimmers of hope in this map, and Boaster's just walking it down on his own.
Well, that is a deep play. The Rolling Thunder catching it for the mid-split. But xFaroe able to survive inside his cage, at least for now. Hunter's Fury not finding its mark. Pressure applied as Jemkin rotates, cut off. Boaster in there with a 3rd kill of the round. This guy's off to a flying start, and it looks like soon to be a finish. For the attacking side, a 4th denied, but Chronicle's there for the trade. 12-7. 1 more needed for Fnatic, and after the pause, nothing's changed for RRQ.
The thing I love about that is that's when Fnatic decide to throw in a set play. That's where you have the Rolling Thunder that forces the players. We've seen them play on this close B box so many times, so Rolling Thunder forces them in, and that's why Boaster is running it down mid, because if he knows if he gets in behind them here, they're going to be stunned up and being flown in towards him because they're so worried of the players coming in front. That is a gorgeous set play from the side of Fnatic. And while we spoke about the fact that this needed to be the resurgence, there looks like there is no resurgence to be had. This attack side from Fnatic has been flawless.
Not a bump on the road so far. Remember, this is RRQ's pick, and the conversation that's been going around about Fnatic being in the weakest state in terms of their map pool so far, well, we might have to reconsider. Ascent was close. In the second half of Abyss, it has been anything but. They were 7-5 down. And now just 1 round away from victory. With 5 chances to do it. Kayak's deep dive. They see the cage. Oh, what a shot on a Jemkin. The first of what could be many to fall. Ult clearing right, but xFaroe still alive, but now they know it. They know exactly where he is.
He's got both trips just blocking off this right-hand side. They're yet to be broken. They now will be, or at least the first one. If anybody's jumping across, Boaster could go flying off the map, but it may not even matter in the end. Only 2 standing. Make that just 1.
Spike planted.
Crazy guy needs a crazy finish, and he will not live to tell the tale. Perfection for Fnatic.